Welcome back to Wow Drama Stories. Today I have 3 stories for you, so let's get right to it. Story number 1. Opie writes, My 35 female friend, 35 female, needs help telling her hubby, 36 male, and his mistress, 45 female, that she won't go on vacation with them. I am posting this for a friend who does not and will not get a Reddit account. There is her, the wife, him, the hubby, and his mistress. Wife and hubby have been married for close to 10 years, childless. They have had an open marriage for about 5. The reason we call the other woman a mistress is because about 5 months ago, mistress had a personal situation that required her to move into the multi-bedroom, multi-bathroom house owned by wife and hubby. At the time, wife was not completely okay with it, but the circumstances were very dangerous for mistress, and wife eventually agreed as they were all friends at the time. Since mistress moved in, hubby and mistress have made a sort of eternal clique, where mistress basically agrees with and amplifies everything that hubby says and does. This has turned into constantly villainizing wife, to the point where they now are separated, and wife has come to stay with me. The straw that broke wife was that mistress claimed to be pregnant, and then miscarried. I say claimed because her miscarriage was conveniently the day before her blood test for the pregnancy, 2 months in a row. Mistress said that wife's constant presence and disapproval caused her too much stress and to miscarry. There are a lot of reasons this is wrong, but I won't go into mistress's medical stuff here. So, wife asked my advice on how to tell hubby and mistress that she wants nothing to do with an already planned and paid trip to upstate New York in July. I am a very blunt and somewhat emotional, distant sort of person, and I suggested posting here because I think there are a lot of people out there less emotionally invested who can help her word this, so that hubby and mistress stop claiming that wife is attacking them every time she voices her opinion. And here's Opie's update. So, there are a lot of questions. 1. Why doesn't wife have a boyfriend? She does. She has had the same boyfriend for about 4 years. I learned a lot about their relationship dynamic that I haven't really asked about before because I'm not part of their lifestyle choices. It turns out that wife cycled through several partners in the beginning, and each time she was with one man for more than 3 or 4 times, hubby would get all upset and claim he didn't like the man for this or that reason. Wife put up with it because she wasn't really invested in the other men until she found her current boyfriend. Then she put her foot down and said that she's not telling him to leave because she likes this one. Hubby has had several long-term girlfriends over the years, but none of them have been this enmeshed in their everyday life. 2. She needs a lawyer and to divorce. Well, yes, she is going through separation with the intention to divorce. It was supposed to be amicable. They have full mediation already scheduled for next week to begin separating their assets. They wanted to remain friends, hence the need for advice on how to gracefully separate herself from the upcoming trip. I think wife is finally realizing there won't be any grace in this if they keep overwriting her opinion on everything. 3. Why does she even want to go on the trip? The 3 of them were very close friends and had already gone on a few trips together previously. I learned that once mistress moved in, that the trip started becoming very one-sided against wife. The deal was supposed to be that on trips, hubby and wife are together, and mistress was only supposed to be a traveling friend. This became a problem when they visited family last month, and the whole family learnt about the dynamic, because hubby and mistress broke the rules. 4. They're going to kill her if she goes on that trip. No, they won't. I will not go into detail as to why I know this is true. You'll just have to believe me. 5. If there really was a miscarriage, mistress has to go to the hospital. Yes, and I asked the same thing after it was suggested by a commenter. When wife was trying to form her response, she finally realized that I was right, and mistress has likely been faking. According to mistress, she talked to her OBGYN on the phone as soon as she started bleeding, and she doesn't need to go in for any sort of exam or whatever. As she was saying it, the look on wife's face told me that she finally realized how effing sketch that sounded and gave up. I think wife finally realized what I and many of the posters here have been trying to say. Mistress is not a friend, not anymore. Please believe me that mistress was a friend before, but hubby let the dynamic change, and now it isn't possible any longer. 6. Why are you still friends with hubby? I'm not writing you a novel. You only get to see this one small, terrible interaction between us. If I get a chance to sit peacefully and respectfully with hubby, I will be getting his side of the story too. But I won't ignore that he didn't defend wife when mistress attacked her emotionally. That isn't right. There have been some very good responses and some very dumb ones. People calling my friend spineless don't seem to understand that there is a dynamic to everything. One user put it best by saying she is still hurting. That is it exactly. I think there were too many emotions for her to honestly understand what she needed. Some of the advice was good, and she had me take screenshots to send to her so she could build her argument in a way that would keep things peaceful between them all, even if it won't work. In case you missed it in the comments, it turns out that mistress was intentionally trying to get pregnant, and that was a hard rule for wife. She will be confronting both of them on this, and also demanding that they explicitly outline their relationship from here. Mistress is no longer considered a friend after her accusations, and hubby needs to accept that. As we figured out through reading and replying to the comments, we think that hubby still wants to be married to wife and keep mistress because he doesn't see anything wrong with their dynamic. However, he has failed to uphold the rules of the open relationship, and he has incited and ignored passive-aggressive bullying to wife. While she is not blameless in the separation, there are always many sides to a story. Nobody deserves to be treated with such hate in their own house, no matter what they've done. I think that what wife needed was the confidence to say no and walk away. Now that she knows she can just show up to my house and stay in the guest room when things get tense, she has the option to say no and walk away when hubby doesn't listen. That is what she's planning on doing, and she wants to thank everyone who helped contribute to her decisions. Oh my word, what a tangled web. This is the thing about open relationships, open marriages. Building a relationship, it takes time and patience and a lot of understanding. So when you bring in another person, that's going to complicate things. Because now it's 3 people dealing with each other, and sometimes you'll have 2 of them that will be closer to each other and the other person will start feeling excluded. It all becomes so self-defeating, really, I think. And OP, you say that your friend is separating, that she is going through the divorce. You said in the comments as well they are divorcing. And yet she seems so overly concerned still with the relationship between a soon-to-be ex-husband and mistress. It doesn't make sense to me. If she's going to move on, why does she still care this much? And why is she worried about saying, hey, I'm not going with you guys to New York in July? You did say that it's just hard for her to stand up to them because they tend to bully her. But once again, if she is separating and they're going to work through their assets and who gets what, and they are going to get a divorce, it still doesn't make sense to me why she is so worried about saying, I don't want to go with you on vacation. You said that her husband doesn't really want the divorce. So how is your friend ever going to go through with it if she can't even say, I don't want to go with you to New York? This whole thing is actually, it's so messy. And I understand emotions are involved, but I think your friend actually just needs therapy and somebody to help her work through those emotions. Asking for help online, that's one thing, but it's not going to help her. She needs a lot more help than this to separate herself emotionally from this situation, and then hopefully physically as well, and just get out of it. And the fact that she also has a boyfriend, it's just so complicated. The only thing really to do is to split up and cut contact. But if you've maybe had an open relationship, or you do have an open marriage, open relationship, well, please give me your input in the comments. It just seems like there's a lot of rules that they had that have been broken. So that's why I say this whole thing just sounds like a big mess. And on we go to story number 2. Opie writes, my sister, 28 female, slept with my 27 female ex-fiancé, 32 male, days after we broke up, and I just got to know it now. My sister always has been my best friend since I was born. We didn't have many fights. We were sharing all of our secrets. I broke up with my fiancé after living together for 3 years a year ago. It was a really abusive relationship. My sister, a few days later, took my bicycle from him after I moved out, right away after we broke up. I didn't think much of it back then, because as I thought I had nothing to think into it. Man, I was so wrong. Today, my ex texted me that he had a dream about us and wanted to fix things and restart after being separated for a year with the help of couple therapy. I already felt bad about that text. And then he told me that he sincerely apologizes, that I had to know that it's part of the story that he slept with my sister on the day she took my bicycle. I don't know how to feel now about her. I called her, asked her about it, but I have no idea how to process this. How to fix my broken trust in her. How could she lie to my face for a year straight? And now, how could I introduce her to anyone anymore? She is, in addition, not a quickie type at all, and never had one-night stands apart of this one occasion. How to process such? Update. Most importantly, I am extremely thankful for all of you being here and giving me the best of your advices. I appreciate and consider them. I just hung up with my sister. I tried to keep it as rational as I could. Not to mention that I was working and had to concentrate for 4 more hours right after I just found out what happened. I blocked my ex, and I called my sister back after work. I told her as calmly as I could how I felt, how I still feel, and what do I think, and all about my concerns. I was asking about her intentions of letting such a thing just happen between them. I know my ex, and I know that he has several mental issues. I know my sister too. This is why it felt to be an utmost betrayal from her. I kept it rational and divided from my feelings because I felt like she would never have been fully open with me if I didn't do otherwise. Somehow, I consider myself a person who has so little to no knowledge when it comes to emotions. Somehow, being rational instead helps me in better understanding. Finding a logical reason behind everything makes it easy for me to process such things that I would go out of my mind of mental pain, knowing that they weren't my fault. Well, the whole story is, my sister never had a high self-esteem, especially not being compared to me in the family. For so far, I got to my peak at my career, got 3 international movie awards at the age of 22. Had a seemingly nice relationship, for I always had really hard times talking about my low points in my life. With this being said, she always grabbed every opportunity to seek for various feedbacks on her life. Not from me, not from the old friends in her life, but from various random and new people. She honestly didn't understand why it was such a mistake to blame my ex about what happened. So I grabbed that opportunity to fully explain it to her. I told her that my ex never has been completely sane, and by being triggered by a fresh trauma, he became even more incalculable. What he did was basically revenge sex, and my sister, being an emotionally vulnerable person, willingly agreed. By that time, even if she told me what happened, I would have been less hurt probably, because what hurt me the most was that how she could lie to me for the sake of someone she didn't even know for 1 year straight. I openly told her that it made me question all the good moments that we shared in the past year. As I found out, it was solely because she wasn't aware of what would hurt me the least. I told her that I was seriously impressed about how she could behave as a cold-hearted psychopath, that even I didn't notice anything about it. I didn't find the right answer for that, but my sister thought that once she effed up, she hoped that she could take us to the grave. But knowing that in the past year my ex couldn't forget me and tried to repeatedly win me back, looking back, for me it was pretty obvious that it would sooner or later get back to me. And so it did. We talked for hours straight with my sister, and everything led back to her very low self-esteem and therefore her bad and self-degrading decisions. At the end of the conversation, I told her to start to get her soul together and seek professional help, because it's not good for her either, nor to anyone she hurts with her poor decisions of trying to get fake self-certifications for herself. Opie did say in the comments that she blocked her ex, that she wants no contact with him, and that she has no interest to try and understand his motives for what he did. So Opie, I can understand why you are upset with your sister. Your relationship with your ex was over at that time. And although a person still expects a certain level of decency and consideration from him, at the end of the day, your relationship with your sister was still there and still ongoing and should be for a lifetime. So I can understand why you're upset with her. She is the one that really ultimately broke your trust. So yes, she does have to go to therapy, but you need to go with her to fix your relationship with her. You're 28 and 27, so your journey in life with each other is still long. There's still a way to go there, so you really need to try and work on this and hopefully fix things. And I know it's going to take a while, but it is worth trying to work things out, Opie, and I think you understand that as well. Maybe you want a bit of distance between your therapy sessions, and that's okay. You know, whatever you discover in therapy is going to work and help the two of you heal this relationship. So, Opie, I wish the two of you the best of luck, and I really do hope you can mend your relationship, your sisterly bond. And on to story number 3. Opie writes, me, 30 female, and my boyfriend, 37 male, have been together about 2 years. Recently, my boyfriend found an old social that had me tagged in a few pictures with 2 of my exes. He then asked for pictures of my other 2 exes, even back to high school, and then became incredibly upset that all 4 of them are, quote, ugly, unquote. I was confused because from the beginning, I've been clear that to me, looks are very unimportant and close to the bottom of my list of what I want in a partner. Therefore, his good looks, to me, are a bonus to his warm personality, quick-witted humor, intelligent and interesting viewpoints, and good family values. While I asked why he was so upset, he couldn't give me an answer. So hoping you all can point me in the right direction to resolve this. I have no idea why this would even be important. And here's Opie's update. This got a bit bigger than I thought, but thank you for all your theories and suggestions. He came to me about it, and some of you were right. He thought I was lying about not caring for looks, and to him, looks are the only thing he has going for him, and was the main reason I was with him. Why he would even think this, I don't know. Seeing my exes made him realize I really wasn't joking about looks not being a priority. It was insecurity over not being an interesting person, having dropped out of college, and not achieving his financial goals, none of which are true, or if they are, not important to me. Seems he needs to work on his self-worth, and is going to discuss it with his therapist. On a side note, told him I made the post, and that people said it could be that my value goes down from having dated in a lower league than him, as if dating an ugly person tainted me. We both felt that was an absolutely ridiculous theory, and anyone who feels this way 100% needs a lot of therapy. Well, Opie, that is good that you did get to the bottom of this. And how sad is it that so many people link their self-worth to their appearance, to their looks, the very thing that's not going to last forever. And in this case, to the point that your boyfriend can't even see all his very good attributes, the things you love about him. But there's reason for optimism because it sounds like the two of you have the ability to communicate and discuss problems with each other and find possible solutions to them. Well, that's it for this edition of Wow Drama Stories. I thank you once again for joining me, for allowing me to read these stories to you. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. It really does help me a lot. And consider subscribing. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Be kind to yourself, everyone. Bye.